Good morning, car lovers. Welcome back. I'm Bobby Freeman. Today, my friends, we're going to be looking at possibly one of my all-time favourite cars, which is the BMW Z4. Now, I actually had one of the original Z4s. It was a 2003 one. I had it about 10 years ago, and I just absolutely loved it. I think it's possibly one of the best looking roadsters ever made. I originally saw it when it was out in, it was featured in the James Bond movie. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been GoldenEye, I'm not sure. But ever since then, it's just had a really kind of special place in my heart. It looks, even the old one, the original one, just looks, even by today's standards, almost like a brand new car. The design looks still kind of cutting edge. I'll show you a picture of mine now, and you can see, you can imagine that kind of rolling out a showroom, looking brand new and looking kind of still not out of place against, you know, brand new cars now. Maybe, you know, give or take a little bit, but I think it stood the test of time really, really well. So I'm very excited to have a look at this one for you today, which is the latest incarnation. And one of the things I'm really kind of looking for is, has it kind of still got that essence of that original Z4? Has it still got that same feel when I drive it? Will it take me back to my sort of nostalgic days of when I was a single man driving around in a relatively cheap second-hand sports car? Obviously it's not going to be second-hand, but judging by the styling, I think it may, we may be looking at a slightly different animal here today. I don't know, I might not, I might be completely mistaken, but what I would like is for it to have retained some kind of that essence. So let's find out, well, if it has. So let's have a look around it, shall we? As you can see, it's kind of quite a step away from what it used to be. The styling's kind of evolved through the original soft top one, through to the hard top which came afterwards, and then through to this one now. It's quite a different beast. It's not like a Porsche 911 where it's going to sort of basically stay the same, but I think it looks pretty badass, especially in black like this. It's cool. So you got these nice kind of sort of angular lights, which are very, very different to the original ones. As I say, it's kind of evolved rather than revolved, to quote Alan Partridge. As you can see, this one's got the black front grills. It's kind of a sort of a stealthy spec, this car. Gorgeous diamond cut alloys here. BMW do alloys really, really well. If you can see that, they kind of go out and then in at the middle here. Badass. You do not want to be scuffing those. Got the nice M Sport badge down here, which is always nice to see on a BMW. And then we look at the side profile, which is really what you want to see on a roadster. I'll show you again from the other side because we're kind of facing into the sun here. And as we get round to the back, yeah, this is kind of, it's not really recognizable as a Z4, to be honest, obviously apart from the badge and everything, but in terms of look, they kind of have departed from the original kind of look, because I think the second version of it with the hardtop kind of retained that Z4 look, but this one, not sure. I think I like it. In fact, I do like it definitely, but it's definitely a step away from what we had before. So let's have a look at the boot space. Now, look, you're not going to be getting much of a boot or a trunk if you're in America in a Z4. So if you had a look there, yeah, there's not a great deal of space, particularly with, well, actually, you don't actually lose any space with this one when the roof is folded in, because obviously this one is gone, but they've gone back to a soft top. So you get a couple of small suitcases, maybe a small bag squashing as well, but it's not be a great, there won't be a great deal of room in here. But again, no one's kidding themselves. They're not going to be buying this car if they want, you know, a decent amount of room in the boot. They're buying it because it looks cool. So as you can see, I put the roof up now, literally because it's just a scorching hot day, and I'm going to get sunburned if I stay out in it any longer than I already have. So let's have a look round in here. In terms of cockpit, again, this is worlds apart from the original Z4, and in fact the other Z4. I think they've kind of sort of decided that they're going to move on a little bit from what was the Z4 and bring it really into the 21st century, which is fair enough, because we can't sort of, you know, we can't sort of stick and wallow in the same sort of stuff for years and years. I would have liked perhaps a little bit of a nod to some sort of the original styling, but like, to be honest, I can't really see any other than perhaps a little bit of similarity down here with the presets for the radio. But let's put that aside, shall we? Let's have a look at the seats to start with. So these seats, I think, look absolutely badass. These are the sports seats, as you can see here. They look kind of, there's a quality that BMW sort of gives you with the leather that's kind of not really met until you get up to sort of the likes of, I don't know, maybe Bentleys and Porsches, really, because it just looks such, it screams quality. It feels such sort of high-tech sort of materials, and it just feels super super high end. You've got the speakers behind there. You've got a little tiny bit of storage here for some very flat things, but you're not going to get very much in there. We're not kidding. But again, we're not really expecting it. We've got this central console opens up here. We've got two nice, decent sized cup holders, USB here, a little bit of storage space down there, nice slot for the phone, but again, not a massive amount. Come up to the center console here. You've got your controls here for the roof. You've got here the controls for all the audio and nav and everything. Obviously you've got start stop button down here. I believe in the original Z4 I thought it was kind of over here somewhere, so they've moved it slightly, but the end, really it's not the end of the world. Sport, comfort, eco and adaptive, your different driving modes there. Over here you got this closable section here. You got your presets for the radio there, a good old-fashioned turny thing, which is a technical term for the radio. I really like that. I don't like when everything's going too touchscreen. I like to have a few real switches, which you've got along here as well for the heated seats, and then there's obviously all the ventilation and your air conditioning. Huge, lovely big widescreen there, which is in the original Z4 it used to fold away. I used to really like that, it folded away to the dash, but obviously that's kind of a thing of the past now. It doesn't tend to happen. So if we pan over here, we're going to get a lovely view of a skip lorry. Oh, look at that. You don't get that on other YouTube channels, do you? Extraordinary. Right, if you want a nice skip, then call that company, which I didn't see the name of, but I should charge them for advertising, shouldn't I? Anyway, steering wheel, as always with the BMWs, very, very cool, nice and chunky, beautiful bit of brushed aluminium on there, leather stitched in the middle. I always like the steering wheels in BMWs right back for all the way back to 20 years ago, I suppose. They always kind of look cool, and it's some people think I fixate on it a little bit, but I think it's the one bit of the car you're going to touch mostly, the bit of your car you're in contact with the most. I think it's really important that it kind of looks sturdy and feels nice in the hand. You got the nice screen in there as well. You got various different options you can have in that screen, which is fast becoming a sort of a more and more, something you see more and more in almost pretty much every car these days, particularly the high-end models. Over here, obviously got your lights and everything. Beautiful kind of stylish door handle. I mean, you know, if you're excited by door handles, there you go. And obviously the window switches over there. So inside, it's not, as I say, it's not a huge cabin, but I'd say it has a sense of, a little bit more sense of space than perhaps the previous models. You kind of, the other ones, I remember the original one felt quite closed in, so I think they've worked out quite nicely in terms of using the space. Now then, something I wanted to mention when I was doing the outside bit of the car is you might be wondering why the original Z4 went from a soft top to a folding hard top and then back to a soft top again. And it's a little bit geeky, but I don't mind being geeky because I am, well, I suppose I'm a geek. Thing is, with a convertible roof and sports cars, they're not really that compatible, because with sports cars it's all about weight distribution. You want to have an equal distribution of weight throughout the car. You don't want to have too much weight at the back because it will throw the background. You have lots of oversteer. Same problem, you have lots of weight at the front, you'll get understeer. Now, not many cars are 50-50, but the thing is, a soft top, if you're going to have a soft top in a sports car, it's better to have a soft top. Sorry, if you're going to have a convertible in a sports car, it's better to have a soft top because you're not shifting the weight around. So when you've got a folding hard top, you've got a certain amount of weight distribution, but then when you take the roof down, you are shifting all that weight from here in the middle to the back. So you've lost weight in the middle and you've gained weight at the back. Whereas if you, because companies go to a lot of money and a lot of trouble to make sure the weight distribution is good. So when you start messing around with it, it can play around with how the car handles. So when you take the soft top roof down, it folds into the back, it weighs virtually nothing. So it's not actually going to make any difference to the handling and the weight distribution, just in case you were wondering. So then, what I really want to know is, what is this thing like on the road? Because you're only going to be driving a roadster. If you want something that's going to be a nice, engaging drive, as well as looking cool as well. Well, personally speaking, maybe not everyone does, but I want a roadster to be a kind of a driver's car as well. And the Z4 was that. It wasn't a Porsche Boxster, but it was certainly a nice driver's car. And this, we're only doing kind of low speeds around sort of suburbia at the moment, but it's got straight away that beautiful sort of BMW drive. There's nothing quite like a BMW drive. As soon as you hit the road in it, it's just got it's a very kind of firm but extremely smooth, and you kind of just glide along the tarmac, and it was like it was just itching to get on the road the whole time. When it's parked up, it kind of, something feels wrong in a BMW. If you're kind of parked up, it's like it wants to be on the road. And I think that's very true, very much true of the case with this Z4. It feels incredibly planted, and it's like you can feel the chassis. It's like it's giving you feedback. It's like you can feel the surface of the road as you're driving along, kind of through the hands, but also just sort of it's like you're an extension of the chassis itself, and it's reassuring, yet kind of fun at the same time. And it kind of grows as well when you drive it. You feel it felt like a reasonably small car when it's parked up, but when you get it out on the road, it feels a lot bigger. It definitely feels bigger than its predecessors. You kind of get the feeling it's not quite in the realms of a Mercedes SL, but not far off. And the one thing it does have, the original Z4, is that big sweeping bonnet out the front. It's huge. It feels like you're sat kind of at the back of the car, and the car's all bonnet and engine, and you're just sat at the back controlling the whole thing. And by the way, this is the 2-litre version, so it's not the biggest engine of the pile, but I tell you what, when you put your foot down, it shifts. It's quick. Okay, it's not going to be in the realms of the 3 litres, but the beauty of these modern cars, they're all going smaller, because I remember mine was the 2.5 litre, and but they seem to be taking engines smaller and putting turbochargers on it. That's like the thing that everyone's doing at the moment. And when it first happened, I remember thinking weren't very keen on it, because they're taking, no one likes to have a smaller engine, but my good God, they are way more efficient, and they go like shit off a shovel, to use a slightly unpleasant phrase. Also, I've noticed that we're driving along, it's getting a lot of looks. A lot of people are stopping and look at it. A couple of kids took a photograph of it, which is amazing really, because we're in London, and it's not uncommon to see Porsches or Ferraris or Lamborghinis. So that's a testament to the beauty of it, and some people don't like that. Me, I'm a dreadful show off, so I love it. So we're out on the open road now, and this it's not really sort of the home of a roadster, but obviously a lot of people are going to spend a lot of time on the motorway, and it feels nice. It just feels like you kind of could be driving a 3 Series or something. It's just kind of smooth and gives you sort of that sense of being sort of in touch with the road, but just rolls along beautifully, and you wouldn't really know you were in a sports car, because obviously there's a lot of impracticality that comes with sports car. I've just got to change lanes here a minute, but you don't really like something like a Lotus Elise or an XEs or something. That's great fun, absolutely one of my favourite cars I've ever driven, but you get it out on the motorway and it's hard work, it's bumpy, it's noisy, it's not very comfortable, and you get to the end of a journey, you feel like you've done 2 rounds with Mike Tyson. But this, you just feel like you could just drive it forever, and this is the thing that BMW brings to the table. And as I said earlier, the steering is very, very smooth and refined, but if you throw it into a corner, which I'm not going to now, but if you do throw it into a corner, it kind of livens up and reacts, and it's kind of like, oh yes, here we go, and it kind of just grips and hold on in a way you kind of thought it probably wouldn't, because at the end of the day, it's a BMW. It's not, it's like a sports car. Well, it's not officially a sports car. It looks like a sports car. It's not what you call something like a Lotus or a Porsche, where you would expect that, but it kind of really just sort of grabs on and it sort of hauls you around, and it's awesome. This is one of the downsides of reviewing cars in London. There's a lot of sitting in traffic, but since I've been sat there, about sort of 30 seconds, like 2 people have come past and gone like, done that sort of, it's sort of a blokey thing. It's to say you've got a nice car, but they don't want to be too sort of unblokey by saying you've got a nice car. So they just sort of kind of go, the upwards head nod, the nod that goes kind of upwards and doesn't go back down again. It's kind of like, I'm like, yeah, a mutual sort of blokey gesture, which is nice. So here we go again. I'm going to floor it coming out onto off this slip road here. Hopefully not crash into it. If I'm going to give it some, it's just, damn you, MG. There's a bloody big fat MG in front of me driving like an absolute, well, probably a sensible person, but it's annoying all the same. Here we go. I've got past it now, so I'm going to give it a, oh, man, it's quite throaty as well for a 2 litre. You wouldn't expect it to be honest. You'd probably want it if you were getting the 3 litre, but it's not hugely like, it's not like a barking, like the barking hounds of hell, but it's kind of like, boom. It's enough, and I'm a guy who usually likes to go for the bigger engines, but to be honest, when I drive something like this, it kind of makes me think, what's the point? You know, this is a lot less money, and you know, it's still a really fast car. There's some bloke right up my arse here. I don't know what his fucking problem is. Will you piss off? So here we go. We're going to show a corner here. It's a bit of a long, sweeping corner, but it just sits in, grabs on, and says, "Hold tight." Here we go. This ain't no problem. And it's just, oh man alive! I wish that corner had gone for longer. It was just, oh, that's the good stuff. Man alive! I love BMWs. I love them. Bloody love them. So then, guys, so all in all, I think they've done a great job with BMW. BMW never going to make a bad car. I don't think they've ever made a bad car, to be honest. But as I said, I was quite keen for it to keep a bit of that breeding of the original Z4. And to be honest, I don't think it's done it. I can't really see any nod to it in terms of how it drives, and sort of, especially with the styling as well. That would be the easiest way to kind of give a little bit of a nod to it. But you know what? I'm kind of over that, because I'm won over just by the sheer quality and the way it feels and the way it drives, and the kind of it's sometimes you can't hold on to things all your life because you'll never move on. You have to cut off a little part of yourself in order to grow, and I think that's what BMW have done. They've cut off the whole thing, to be honest. And no, it's not really like the old Z4 in any way, shape or form, but what it is a truly beautiful roadster. Absolutely, there's not a single angle it looks bad from, inside or out. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I just keep looking at this. It sounds a bit sad, but I love the way this dash, the sort of the contours of that dash there, it just looks absolutely awesome. And to me, I don't think you could ever be disappointed when you buy this car. So I would say, if you are a fan of the Z4s, if you've never driven a Z4 before and you're looking for a two-seater roadster, I would say when you compare it to the competition, you know, the TTs, the Mercedes, what else, that's kind of what you're going to be looking at, then there's kind of no comparison, to be honest. It looks the chunkiest, it feels the most like a roadster, and I think it's the one you're going to enjoy most to drive. So I would recommend, if you're looking at a roadster, you've got to get yourself a Z4. So guys, thanks very much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful and informative. If you did, then please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, press the like button on this video, and I will see you all next time.